Hello everybody, welcome to another mod showcase. Today I'll be showing you two mods actually. They're both linked together and they're both extremely good. Again, this one's going to be more of a, the first one's going to be very vanilla, like a vanilla expanded experience. The second one, it is another vanilla expanded. But it changes a bit more than what the original mod does. So let me jump in by saying that we're going to be doing Calradia Expanded, which I know is a highly requested one. And then to follow up, we're going to be also showcasing Shattered Kingdoms. Like I say, they are both linked. We're going to start off with Calradia Expanded, and then we'll move on to Shattered Kingdoms after I've showed you Calradia Expanded. It's a really simple mod. It's not going to be a long video. There's not really much to run through, but it's really cool on what it does. So let's hop into a save file and I'll show you what Calradia Expanded does, and then we'll move on to Shattered Kingdom. So let's go. So here we are in the map view. So what does Calradia Expanded actually do? Well, as is the name, it expands Calradia. Now, if you don't know, Calradia is the name of the universe, or the world, the planet, this. And so everything within here is in Calradia. Now, what this mod aims to do is add more cities, more towns, more castles, and more villages to the game. So, as you can see, well, pretty much everyone has additional settlements, except from, I believe, the Northern Empire. I don't think these actually get anything. They may get some new castles, new cities, but I don't think they actually get any new... sorry, they may get some new castles and villages, but no new cities. And the same with the Western Empire over here. However, the Eastern Empire, or Southern Empire as this actually is, they do get a new city called Mentola. And like I say, within these settlements... within these factions will be, you know, different castles, different villages. They do change the villages around as well. They do move stuff around to make it a little bit more, make more sense, or put it in maybe some more strategic positions. However, I'm not going to have enough time to run around because I think there's over 100 new settlements, so I'm not going to be able to run around and say, oh look, this one's new. Oh, this, like, I just ran out of time. But I will cover all the cities. So, Southern Empire do get Mantola as their only addition. So the Empire, unfortunately, is pretty squished in as is, and they don't really get enough room to really expand anyway. The Aserai, on the other hand, they get a lot. They get so many settlements. However, the Aserai, as a kingdom, are really... they're an iffy one because of their size. So, for example, if they go to war with the Khuzait and they've got, say, half their lords over on this side, it's going to take so long for them to get over here. So even though the Aserai have so many new cities, it really doesn't impact them so much. So they've got Flotois, oh god, names, words. They've also got Nikrish, which is a really cool one. If we come over here, you can actually walk across this bridge, which is a really cool design. Look at that. That's sick. We've also got, there's also this little castle. I don't think this is a part of the vanilla game. To be fair, this is one thing I've actually always said about the vanilla game when I'm playing it. It does seem like this is just empty when it should have something there. So what this mod aims to do is kind of add stuff where there are things currently feeling like they're missing. Again, we've got Aridea, sure. Down here in the south, and then all the way down southeast we've got Cappadocia, oh my god, Pionitas, oh my god, words are hard, but there we go. So instead of just having a handful of cities, they have a lot of cities. However, it does make up for balancing just because of the stretch and the width of their kingdom, more so than you know, being all cluttered into one position like the Empire. If the Empire had 4 or 5 new cities, it'd be crazy because they'd all be clumped together. It would just be a powerhouse of Empire troops running around, whereas with the Aserai, they are very widespread. Over here we've got Altangan, and I believe that is the only one. Oh, it's Khuzait, I think that's a new one as well. So it would be I was going to call them the Khuzait. What are they? What are they? The Khuzait, there we go. The Khuzaits get 2 new cities, as well as, like I say, a handful of new villages and probably some new castles as well. Likewise, with the northern Sturgian boys, they get Leismark up here, which is a really nice location. Again, villagers to accompany it. I believe this is a new castle as well, Kaldavik. They do. I did see a trade-off somewhere down here. They added a castle there, but I think one of these settlements, one of these villages was like over here, and so they've moved it to be over here, like a lot closer to the city. Because basically this would just get raided like all the time. There's something over here to do with the Aserai, which has now been moved over here. So basically, it's not out in the middle of the enemy's territory. It's a weird village. Do Sturgian have anything else? They get Kulstad. So unfortunately, this mod doesn't really work with the mod I covered last time, the Valkyrie mod, as where Falskirk is exactly where Kulstad is. However, there is a workaround with the Valkyrie mod. If you still want to get the Valkyrie mod, like I said, there is a way to make them occupy this settlement here and this castle here. They do have different names. I don't know if that'll matter. Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to guess not. I don't know. I haven't tested it. But if you wanted the Valkyries mod, you could still test to see if they could still run. But either way, this is still a really good mod regardless. They do change around the names a little bit, as Revil was over here and Varcheg was over here. I think this has more to do with Warband's lore and where Revil and Varcheg were in that game. They've also added a little bridge across here which wasn't accessible before, which is really nice because what would happen is over here where, well, I'm going to keep on calling it Revil by accident, but over here you just have to like kind of walk around the whole entire of the outside to get to anywhere. But what this allows you to do is cut across here, and it does kind of add a new level of concern to the settlements over here, because nothing ever happened to Varcheg or Revil or the castle up here. Nothing ever happened because the AI just didn't really care so much for it. They focus a lot more on Revil or Varcheg, or they focus a lot more on Omar, or you know, they focus a lot more on the castles around here and the villages around here. Because of just where this was, all the way around the side, they had to cut through this canyon here and come all the way around the side. And by the time we got here, they just didn't care. That's a new castle there as well, that wasn't there before. So adding this pathway here is a really, really nice addition. And there are multiple of these little pathways somewhere, like everywhere. They do add new bridges, new pathways, new everything. They do also alter the terrain, as I believe this in the base game isn't actually mountains. You should be able to walk over this in the base game. What they've done is made it so that you can no longer walk over it, or something along here. Yeah, I think it is this. I'm fairly certain it is this. They've raised up the mountains around here to make it so that you just can't walk over it. So they've done a really good job. They've added so many more settlements, and they've altered the terrain to make it a little bit more enjoyable for you. Like I say, this doesn't add any new units. This doesn't add any new factions. This just adds more settlements. Moving over to the Battanians, again, they only get one new settlement, or city, sorry, which is Sargeth, which is a really nice one. There was, I don't know if this is a glitch with the mod, or if this was some kind of compatibility issue I had with some of my mods in the past. Vlandian and Sturgian lords kind of came here at one point, and they never left. Which may sound pretty funny, but I was actually working with the Vlandians as a mercenary, and half the lords were just sat in this city doing nothing. So it meant that our armies were minute compared to all the other armies, because half our lords were stuck in a city. Like I said, that may just be a mod compatibility issue. You may not get this issue. I'm not too sure. Something to just keep in mind though. It may be fixed. It may be something on my end. But when I tested this out before and I did a little playthrough, I think if we went on here, we'll pay to get in. So you see, there's 2 people in here, right? There was 5 pages worth of lords. So there was like 30, 40 people in here, just sat there doing nothing. So anyway, that's a side note. Just something to be mindful of. I don't know if it will be the same, but Sargeth did trap a lot of my lords. Moving over to Vlandia, we do now have Tiram, which is a really nice settlement over here alongside Revolt and Osterken. It's a nice little pier city. And they've got some really cool boat models there. I think they do. That's a really nice designed city there. I like that. Again, villages to accompany it, and I believe there will be some more castles along here as well. And I believe, is that it? Or was there one more? I thought there was one more. Yeah, there we go. And Vlandia, another nice little port town. Just adding stuff like this. Just adding stuff like this to the game just makes it look a little bit nicer, which is really good. So there we go. That is Calradia expanded. Now, what does it add? 1,000,001 new things in terms of settlements, castles, cities, villages. It doesn't add any new units or anything like that. It doesn't separate out the kingdoms either. It just gives the kingdoms currently more to deal with. So, for example, even though the Northern Empire and the Western Empire didn't get any new cities, they probably got a handful of new castles. I'm not too sure about that castle, but I mean, maybe. But the Western Empire definitely would have got a new castle of some kind. I think one change they did do is move the castle from down here. There used to be a castle over here. They've now moved that to there, and they've moved the village from there and just put it somewhere else. So you will see gradual changes as you move around. Like I say, this wasn't even called Albania Castle. It was called something else. I think it was just Ortizia Castle, maybe? Or was it that? Ostricoris Castle? I don't know. There was a castle here anyway. They've moved it. Because again, this was another really good choke point. And if you could get this castle, it was very much just a one-way battle if you needed to defend yourself. So it was a bit of a pain in the ass to either attack or quite easy to defend. So they've changed a lot of things around. So there you go. That is Calradia expanded. I just want to pause the game there before I get killed because I'm running around by myself. Let's quickly hop over to another save file of Shattered Kingdoms. These mods go hand in hand very nicely. Now, Shattered Kingdoms does actually require you to use Calradia Expanded, because what it does is it takes the settlements from Calradia Expanded and changes it in quite a big way. So let me quickly hop over to the Shattered Kingdoms save file and we'll see what that has to offer, which makes it a little bit different, a little bit maybe better than this one. We'll hop over. Won't be a minute. Okay, so here we are in the new save file. So what this mod does, this is a Shattered Kingdoms mod, is kind of adds onto Calradia Expanded, but in a quite a significant way. Now, with all the new cities and all the new villages, all the new castles, you may think some settlements or some factions, sorry, may be a little bit too overpowered now with the array of resources they are now able to have underneath them. For example, the Aserai lands, they've got 1,000,001 new cities, right? And you could say, oh, Jesus, that's a lot of cities. Empire doesn't get much love, but you know everyone else does. So you can kind of sit there and say, well, everyone's just got so much more, and it just feels like maybe too much now. Now, what Shattered Kingdoms does is, again, it doesn't add new units, it doesn't add new armor or weapons. What it does do is splits down all the kingdoms into much smaller factions, using the Calradia Expanded new cities. So if we zoom out, you'll see quite a significant difference. So there we go. I would just like to point out that I did miss a city from the Aserai lands, Kavalonki. I think I missed this out. I can't pronounce it either. I think I went straight to Flotois. But there we go. So instead of just having 7 factions, there are now, oh god, let's have a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 factions maybe now? Maybe 18? I don't know. There's a lot. So, as you can see, the Empire lands has been cut down quite drastically. So, Southern Empire hasn't really been touched too much. They've lost a little bit, as you can see. They've lost Anera and Danistica and Serena. However, they've kept a lot of their lands. The Western Empire has also kept a lot of the lands. However, they've lost one city over here to this faction, which we'll go into in a minute. And they've lost the... oh no, we didn't even know that. Never mind. So, they've only lost Ortizia. To this faction, which we'll go over in a minute. So empires still very close together. Now, if we quickly go on to the kingdoms, I don't think they're actually called that anymore. Is it still? Okay, no, it's still Western and Southern and Northern. Yeah, okay, so they do keep the names. However, over here, competing with the Northern Empire is a new settlement, or new faction, sorry, called the oh god, why do I pick these mods? Ostiotan Empire, and what these will do is they work exactly the same. If we go to Krios, please have villages in here. Okay, lovely. So they still provide the same units, but what this does is splits down. Instead of having 7 really big factions, you now have double that, if not more than double that, of smaller, more minute factions. So in north we've now got the Ostiotan Empire competing with the north. Over here, where some of the Southern Empire's units were, or settlements were, we've now got the Fastian Empire, which are a nice cool red one, nice cool red colour. There's actually nothing to contest with the west. Like I say, what this faction is an empire, so we'll go into that. If we would go over to the north, we've obviously got Sturgia still owning 3 of their main cities. However, Kulstad, Reville and Vercheg now belongs to Keltilson's Earldom. So that's another Sturgian faction, which covers a big bit. That's probably one of the biggest factions of the Sturgians now, is this one, and they're all really close together. To be fair, everything's really close together, but they do have a lot more, it seems. I mean, what have they got? 1, 2, 3, 4 castles. What have you got? 1, 2, 3. I guess 4 castles as well. It just seems a little bit more far spread. So there's one Sturgian Empire, and then over here we've also got Earldom. So another Sturgian Empire, which, like I say, will take into consideration of Leismark up here for the Sturgians, and will take over Sibir and Teal as well. So they all share 3. Do you have any more castles? No. Okay, so they're all evenly spread. They all have 4 each. Over in the east with the Khuzaits, they're fucking not Khuzaits. What are they? Khuzait. The clan is Khuzait, and that's what they are in Warband, but they're not called Khuzaits. They're Khuzait. So the Khuzait still own the northern part of their lands. However, in the southern lands, a new faction called the Kenshin Horde has taken over the whole entire of the Southlands. Again, using all the new settlements from Calradia Expanded. Doesn't add anything new in terms of units. Again, I just want to clarify, nothing new is being added here. It's just new cities from Calradia Expanded with new factions being implemented to split it up and divide it a little bit more, as why it's called Shattered Kingdoms. Further on south into the Aserai lands, this, thankfully, if it was one of your concerns that Aserai have now got 1 million cities, this does a really good job of splitting it up. So obviously Aserai are still in the middle, but they're a lot more focused now. The original clans will have lost some of their clans. For example, there's nowhere near as many clans as what there were here before. If you go on to Aserai, there you go. They should have lost a lot of the clans. A lot of the clans will have been moved around instead of all just being under one banner. So there won't be as many lords running around. There won't be as many clans running around. They're a lot more focused now instead of being spread all along this region here. So again, really good fix to it as a Aserai lands. If you think Calradia Expanded puts too much in for them. Over on the east side of Aserai, we've got the Tunita Sultanate, which is done in quite a nice white and pinky reddy banner, which is really cool. Like I say, they will be taking over some of the new cities. I think they get 3 of the new cities, which is really nice. And they'll be actually the closest contestants to the new Fastian Empire and the new Kenshin Horde. So really cool. Again, another cool little addition. And then over on the western side over here, we've got this Zukir Sultanate, which again, it really helps split up the Aserai from not being too much of a powerhouse. I personally don't think there would have been too much of a powerhouse anyway. You could simply play Calradia Expanded as is, but if you wanted to add a little bit more war, a little bit more stuff going on, more people to align with, more people to work with, this really does do a good job of adding that. Over here, they've actually done a kind of a cool but weird thing with the Vlandians and the Battanians. So they've split them up. If I'm not mistaken, obviously this is Vlandia and this is Battania. They still keep the same like rough area. But I think these are now Battanian settlements. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay, so this is one where I remember doing a little bit of research on this. This is one which kind of confused me a little bit, because Battania's now got another kingdom, which is called the Krihanan Confederacy, which again, a really cool one. Again, keep an eye out on Sargeth. But another cool faction, another cool clan. But I can't help but think Osterken is just kind of out there now, you know? Because I don't... Can you still move along here? Have they fixed that? Because in the base game, you could move down here. See? Okay, so that mod, this mod, sorry, Calradia Expanded and Shattered Kingdoms has fixed this issue. You could literally run down here and run along the ridge here. You can't do that anymore. So now, Osterken is a little bit out there, just by itself. It kind of feels weird to me. It kind of feels like it would make more sense to maybe... Well, I don't know. Maybe leave Osterken to these guys and give them revolt. Maybe create some kind of path to go along. I don't know. Osterken to me just feels a little bit weird now, being owned by Vlandia. It's just by itself. But hey, it still works well. In general, it's just a little bit of a weird one. So Battania do get a new settlement which takes over the northern part of Vlandia. And then in the Southlands, we do actually have another Vlandian clan, which is the Kingdom of Varathia. Kingdom of Varathia. And like I say, all this mod will do is add new lords to occupy, new lords, new clans, and new factions to occupy what Calradia Expanded is giving. So there we go. There is a nice little overview of the whole entire map. It adds so much more. Like I say, if I quickly just tab out, I can read exactly how many new settlements are. Okay, so there's 14 new towns, which are the cities. There's 8 new castles and 77 new villages. It also relocates many vanilla towns, castles and villages onto other locations for them to make more sense. So this is what I was saying earlier about them moving settlements and moving things around. The settlement over here, which I believe is over here in the base game, it doesn't really make much sense. This Aserai village is very close to the Khuzait. In fact, I think it's right next to a Khuzait village. Like, I literally think it's there, and I think that's a Khuzait village. So they've moved it over here and plonked a castle there instead. Likewise, with them adding new terrain things, making it unpassable like this, or passable in this sense, adding that and adding this here so we can't walk past it, and again the mountains back over here so we can't walk over it. So again, it's a really nice vanilla addition to the game. It doesn't add anything, it doesn't add new units. I have seen that it does work with the Eagle Rising mod, which I've covered already. So if you're interested in that, you can merge them together. You can have all this as well as the Eagle Rising mod, which will basically turn all the Empire factions here into Roman units, which is really cool. I think there are other mods as well which do still work with it. Definitely check out the FAQ. Everything will be in the description, so you can go click on the links if you want to download the mod, or if you want to look at a little bit more detail as to what mods may or might not work with it. You're more than welcome to, like I say, click on the link and have a look. As a general rule of thumb, if it adds something new, it probably won't work. The only reason these mods work together is because the Shattered Kingdoms mod, which adds all these factions, is doing just that. It's adding factions, it's not adding settlements. Whereas the Calradia Expanded mod adds all the settlements. So they work in cohesion really nicely. However, if the Shattered Kingdoms mod was to add a settlement, it wouldn't work with this mod. It just simply wouldn't work. So there we go. This is a nice little video. I don't think it is a little video. I think it's quite a long one, to be fair. I didn't mean it to go on this long, but hey, fuck it. This is a nice little mod showcase of the Calradia Expanded mod, accompanied by the Shattered Kingdoms. Again, if you just want to play Calradia Expanded, you're more than welcome to. If you wanted to whack on this edition on top to break down the kingdoms into 17 or so other smaller factions, you're more than welcome to as well. Maybe not 70. Fuck it, I don't know. I don't know how many it is. But there we go. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Mods are in the description below as ever. My name is Ruku. My name is Ruku. Not has been. Always has been. Always is. Not really. That's not my real name. Spoiler. This has been a Calradia expanded mod and the Shattered Kingdom mod. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.